Friends, hope you all are doing great. And today we are going to discuss about a very important topic, that is agile matrices. But friends, I can assure you, you might have not heard the way you are going to see this explanation of matrices till today. Before we start, if you are new to our channel, please do subscribe. You will find tons of valuable information related with Agile Scrum. And at last, if you really find value from this session, please do hit like. Your one like is a big motivation for us. So friends, let's begin. Okay, friends, before introducing today's guest, I just want to share a few things about him. He's my old friend, and the previous year 2021, was not good for him. He got acute COVID and 90% of his lungs were damaged. But we know him as a fighter. Despite all these odds, he successfully completed his executive postgraduate in digital transformation from IIM Indore, which has made him enter into the elite group of leaders in the country who can drive complex digital changes for any organization. So with this thought, let me welcome Nilab Raj Mitra. Hey, hi Nilab. Welcome one more time at our show.
Hi, Sunand. Thank you. Thank you for this highly motivating introduction. And again, a warm namaskar to all of my friends out there. So it's again a real delight to be with you, Sunand, and discuss core agile topics, or say help fellow Scrum Masters to crack interviews. Yeah.
Thanks.
So, but the entire credit goes to you, Sunand. So, thank you again.
Hey, thanks, Nilab. Okay, so if you allow, let's start.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay, so friends, these question which we are now seeing on the screen, right? It's mainly about matrices with respect to your customer, with respect to your leadership team. But in the past, before recording this session, I had a long chat with Nilab. And definitely the way we are going to discuss about matrices is totally different. We are here going to talk about a core foundation so that you can build your foundation, your core with respect to matrices. And on top of it, you can talk about any matrices in the future. So Nilab, over to you. Why don't you tell us about what is special about these two questions?
Yeah. So there are two questions. The first question, which says, "What metrics will you share with your customers?" Then the next question says, "What metrics will you share with your leadership team?" By seeing that metrics, all other projects in your company, including internal projects, should decide to switch to agile. So that metric should show benefit to the company, not to the clients. So quite often, this type of questions, or exact these questions, are being asked during the Scrum Master interviews. And but more importantly, the same scenario prevails inside organizations who are going to be agile, or turning to be agile, or trying to change to agile, implement agile. So agile matrices is definitely a very complex topic, and very complex say points, or say whatever. It's very complex. It's not that easy like other scrum theories, or say scrum ceremonies, scrum roles, or say scrum artifacts. So we'll definitely discuss on these two questions, because on context of these questions, we'll discuss whatever possible about agile matrices. But definitely, a single session is not sufficient to put forward the topic of agile matrices, and uh, think about the pragmatic angle of agile matrices, because theories look good, and theories are good to discuss, theories are good to argue, theories are good to get down to a consensus. But when you get down to the real life, when you get down to the practical project, implementing that is not that easy. implementing those is not that easy. So fine, let's go by the questions one by one. So there are two questions here which are often asked in interviews. uh, Before I go answering the questions and so talk about the answers, let me first announce that as per the manifesto for agile software development for Scrum teams, the working software product always needs to be the primary measure of progress. I have been preaching this. I have been telling to all my seniors, to all my fellow Scrum masters since last, say, almost ever since I'm into Agile. So the Scrum teams need to remember that the Scrum Guide does not recommend any specific Agile matrices that need to be used. The Scrum team always need to understand that the empirical testimony of their overall progress can only be uncovered through their capability of iterative development and delivery of high quality working software. So that's it, period. So, I want to request to all my fellow Scrum Master that please remember these 3 points, that there is no, say, proven theory or say written theory about matrices in any of the say Scrum Bibles or any of the Scrum theorems. So now I'm coming down to matrices. Please mind my words. But of course, by making use of some applicable and appropriate matrices, the overall productivity and performance of the Scrum team can be assessed. So now, as I said, two words, that is applicable and appropriate matrices. When I uttered applicable means it has to be project specific, it has to be goal specific, it has to be objective specific. So then based on that, you have to decide the appropriate matrix, which will overall say showcase the productivity and performance of the Scrum teams, or you can access that. So now the outcomes of the performance and collaborative efforts through these matrices can certainly help the Scrum team to improve their Scrum-based Agile way of working. So again, Agile matrices are being scientifically derived. There is a mathematics. There is a lot of mathematics on many matrices. There is a lot of statistics in many matrices. There are a lot of say recurrence in many matrices. So these are all scientifically derived. So I'm again uttering the same sentence which I just said. The outcomes of the performance and collaborative efforts through these metrics can certainly help the Scrum team to improve the Scrum-based Agile way of working. So here I answered the last part of the second question. That the second question asks that you showcase certain Agile matrices so that your management will choose Agile instead of some other frameworks. So I'll again go on explaining that unless you adopt Agile, you can't have these matrices handy. I have given hints, I have given clues that Agile matrices are being scientifically derived. We have to decide on the applicable and appropriate matrix. Applicable means applicable to that specific project. So it's not that you are not Agile and you think, okay, you give something so that which will force me or say kind of provoke me to go for Agile. It's not the matrices which will bring the intention of the management towards Agile. So you have to adopt Agile, then only you can have a feel of these matrices. So either you switch to Agile fully, or even on a trial basis, and then you just do your jugglery around matrices, fine. So I'm saying this at first because these Agile metrics allow the Scrum team to measure, track, enhance, and improve their overall performance. To make the existing people around the team or in the team or in the project, product, and process better and safer. I'll again say, please mind my words, that agile metrics allow the Scrum team to measure, track, enhance, and improve their overall performance to make the existing people product and process better and safer. So when I say safer, that is the quality part. So unless you have a feel of agile wholly, the leaders or the stakeholders, sitting out there, cannot connect to the goals and objectives intended by the matrices. So if they just think, okay, we'll cherry pick something and then demand the say Scrum Master or the project manager, hey, you show us that, okay, we can think of agile. No, that's not done. So let me say it quite loud and clear that agile matrices are purely based on parameters such as quantification of time, quantification of effort, quantification of cost, quantification of work in progress or calculation of work in progress, determining work in progress, calibration of delivered outcomes, and many other aspects. As I said, it's little bit of maths also there. So unless you adopt agile, you cannot have a gain over this, right? So I'll just bring out a scenario. Okay, Sunan, next. So it'll be just a scenario like five blindfolded persons, normally the leaders or the stakeholders, having a concussion while determining how an elephant look like. So just have a look at this picture. I think many of the friends must have heard about this story, must have seen this story um, uh, during their childhood days, studenthood days, or even their corporate days. Like six blind men were asked to determine what an elephant looked like by feeling different parts of the elephant's body. So the blindfolded person who feels a leg or touches a leg says the elephant is like a pillar. The one who feels the tail says the elephant is like a rope. The one who feels the trunk says the elephant is like a tree branch. The one who feels the ear says the elephant is like a, say, hand fan. The one who feels the belly says the elephant is like a wall. And the one who feels the tusk says the elephant is like a solid pipe. So eventually, a wise king watching them explains them that all of you are right. The reason every one of you is telling it differently because each one of you touched the different part of the elephant. So actually, the elephant has all the features you mentioned. So that will happen, and the blindfold is nothing but the thought process, but the ego, but the eyes. Okay, so having this, I'll just want to say that agile matrices are not unique selling propositions for agile to be sold. Agile matrices are not marketing stunts for agile. Agile matrices are not punchlines for agile as a brand. Agile matrices are information radiators, which are coherent part of agile. So here I'm just coming down to the question that what matrices will you share with your leadership team internally by seeing that matrices all other projects in your company, including internal projects, should decide to switch on to agile. Before I again go down to the explanation, I just want to draw an analogy. Uh, say, just imagine you are a very rich person and very rich, and you heard about the big derby race from someone. The other person said in the race some animals run and people bet on them and people gamble, etc., etc. And you eventually developed a desire to win, to earn money in derby, and you are very rich. So you applied your own thought process, and you have that say audacity because you are rich, you have power to apply your thought process. What you did, you bought an African tusker, Sunanda. Yes, say from Kenya or say some South Africa. Now this animal is the largest, the strongest, and the mightiest animal in the land, in the world. You know it, everyone else knows it. Then you have your animal trainers, or you hired a few as you feel the rich, and you instructed your animal trainers that train the tusker to run with uh, with your thought process that as because it's the strongest, it will run faster. But here the thing, to win the derby, or say to win in the derby, the animal which you need to tame is only a racehorse. Sunan, not a tusker. So what happened? That just because your thought process is something like that, you have power, you have money, you have, yes, a good amount of experience which has added to your thought process. You did something and you asked people to do something which will not at all work. Okay. So now, fine. You know that uh, to win derby, the only animal which you need to have is a racehorse. Now, this racehorse does not have to prove itself with evidence that I run fast. Okay, it is the coherent nature of that animal. So that is agile. So agile is nothing. It has got some coherent natures. So matrices are out of that. So you don't have to exactly say showcase that these are the features. That is why you adopt agile. No, that cannot. That's the very wrong theory. So anyway, if you can consider this analogy as a good one, you can use it and you can say uh, take cues from it. So this is to all my friends out there who are preparing for interviews. Please remember that there are very old school beliefs that are ingrained in managers, leaders, and that league is large out there. Hence, that does not signify that during the interview you have to always give an answer which will bring a very calming effect within them. No, which is right is right. So, so with that kind of attitude, you just go and appear the interview, not for exactly for the sake of cracking. Okay, there are pioneers and there are learners. So this is the basic spectrum. So it's just not binary, 0 or 1. So it's a band where there are pioneers and there are learners and there are amateurs also. So now overall, the changes are happening, and we as agile implementers are catalysts. So now you decide that what exactly gives you the right atmosphere and right platform so that you can be the right catalyst. So as I said that there is nothing that you have to always give a soothing answer to the interviewers, because this kind of I would be the last person to term it as a foolish question, but indeed this is a very foolish question. Okay, now coming to the first question, what metrics will you share with the customers? Now this is a good question. Why? uh, because as I started, that a continuous assessment of various aspects such as uh, value, productivity, predictability, stability, quality, collaboration, and competence, and so many are other there, but these are the main, needs to be considered by the Scrum team while defining and establishing their required Scrum matrices. It has to be decided by the Scrum team. That is why the self-organization we all talked about. That is why we will all talk about that, they are fast learners. So just look at the chart in the screen. So why what is the purpose of considering these aspects? And based on these aspects, as I said, the applicable and appropriate matrices will be chosen. There are hundreds of matrices, but based on this 7 to 9 aspects with a defined purpose, matrices will be chosen. So before I go down to the list of matrices to given to the customers, uh, uh, few word on the stakeholders matrices. Most of the stakeholders are not having a proper interpretation of realizing the tangible and actual value of the working software product. Okay, because end of the sprint, the team is delivering something. So stakeholders sitting almost at a height of 35,000 feet or more than that, they don't have time or they don't have that realization, of the tangibility of the actual software product delivered. So what happens in terms of its work items getting developed, meeting the DoD, they don't sense it. Okay, so they just want to see the Scrum matrices of some worthless statistics, so that their see I will be sounding really blunt, but their day will be fulfilled. They will have some data to showcase or say to make some propaganda. So this is the scenario. I'll be very honest. This is the scenario. So it is important for the Scrum team and the Scrum Master to educate and persuade the stakeholders which Scrum matrices can be used or metrics can be used. But the focus always need to be on the above aspects, these aspects which I just mentioned: value, productivity, predictability, stability, quality, collaboration, and competence. I've also written that what is for what. I'm just not uttering it. Uh, Anybody can see it. Anybody can take a note about it. That why value as an aspect is considered to be, as I mentioned, to be measured in terms of team's overall performance to meet the customer needs and wants. Why productivity? To be measured in terms of team's actual delivery of customers' value and further improvements. Because there is a difference between actually delivered and to be delivered, potential things to be delivered, potential things considered. These are all various things. So that is why various aspects are there. Predictability to be measured in terms of sustained velocity and consistency to achieve the agreed sprint goals. Why we consider predictability? That will give us, at least give us some hint to give a commitment, or give us some cue to reach a date or time that when the software will be delivered or developed. Stability to be measured in terms of team's ability to maintain a stable pace to plan and deliver. Because if it is haywire, a team is delivering hugely one sprint and the other sprint or the subsequent sprint they're going down, there's some problem, there's some issue. So we always need a stable performing team. So we have matrices. Quality, of course, and needless to say about quality, the quality of the working software, the performance part, the overall testing defects and all. Then the collaboration to be measured in terms of team's overall collaboration, happiness index, the overall success factors, the overall motivation level, their and its own hierarchy. So that is there. Competence, it is towards the innovation and towards the zeal, towards the curiosity to go and take risks. So these are the things and these are the purposes. So now coming back to the stakeholders, that what they want and how the Scrum Master go and educate them, that it is high time. See, the agile world is also evolving in a very faster rate. When I started my agile journey 10 years back, I did not have that courage to go and talk to the stakeholder that this matters is absolutely not needed. I was rather, giving back, and those data was going into some dustbin, and I was wasting time. But that is my learning. That don't do it. Do a thought. You have your logical bent of mind. You have your own scientific thought process. Sit down, talk to the stakeholders, and understand that which Scrum matrices can be used, having the focus always in the above aspects shown in the chart. So please avoid meaningless matrices, or we normally term it in the agile world as vanity matrices. When examining a metric, you as a Scrum Master, along with your team, consider some questions or ask some questions to yourself, which I'll just utter now, that those matrices, can it be accurately quantified first? Does it connect to goals and objectives, as I said earlier? Is it absolute and incorruptible? When I say incorruptible, means it cannot be gamed, it cannot be manipulated by some manual intervention. Fourth, are we able to act on this metric? Are we able to take some future decisions? Fifth, will this metric be relevant in the future? The metric will always give you some data, but whatever data it will bring, will it be relevant in future? Can it be considered as a log, and people working in future projects can consider it? So if you can safely answer yes to majority of these questions, then it's a good sign that the matrix is worth considering, worth measuring, and could potentially yield transformative results. So it's equally important for the Scrum Master to filter out matrices that fail to deliver actual value, because what happens that from the top, there are demands of matrices. As I said, from my experience, I kept on working on some matrices which had nothing to do with the team, nothing to do with the performance, nothing to do with the collaboration. Does not render any impacts. So it is high time now the Scrum Master to filter out those matrices that fail to deliver actual value. How will you filter out? I'm just saying it. Outdated metrics that haven't kept pace with your organization's business goal. Align with your organization's business goal, or at least uh, the goal of your business unit. So if the matrix has got nothing to do with that goal, does not have any, it has not kept pace with the goal, get rid of it. Second, competitive metrics that foster unhealthy rivalries. There are matrices I have seen. This is a very important point, which forces us to measure individual productivity, which forces us to quantify the outcomes on the individual basis. Okay, so that ultimately provokes rivalries, which is very hazardous for the team, which is very hazardous for the project as well, and which is very hazardous for the overall culture of the organization. So please get rid of that. Third, short-sighted vanity metrics, as I said, meaningless matrices, which has got nothing but just to have some slides in a PPT and to capture some time, so that okay, somebody has done some work. Okay, then another is unattainable matrices that foster a sense of helplessness and defeatism. Means some data will come up in the screen and you will completely demotivated. There are some. I think we can have another session that what kind of matrices are these which will bring this sense of helplessness or defeatism, or completely sabotage the motivation. Okay, just to make somebody down, or just to look down upon some team. People use it, so completely take it out, erase it. So these are the nature of the matrices or types of matrices which you should not at all consider. So now I'm coming down to another very vital point for Scrum Masters. It's again can be considered as a question, that what are the core characteristics of meaningful metrics? So there are mainly three core characteristics of meaningful metrics. First is actionable. Simply put, metrics should be able to drive a decision. They should help us decide to go one way or other. It should not just give some data, or it just should not showcase some gibberish information which is of no value. The metrics should, you know, compel us to take a decision. So that is called actionable. Second, accessible. The metrics should be easily accessible as possible so that everyone in the organization, at least in the program, can leverage them, which reflects one of the pillar of the Scrum, that is transparency. So Scrum Masters make it a priority to ensure that metrics are highly visible to everyone in the organization, so all members can learn the information and understand how it affects their part of the world. Third, auditable. Metrics are often controversial, as I narrated in all my previous narration. The best way to ensure this is to collect the data automatically. Bring automation into it. And thanks to Jira boards, thanks to Rally boards, thanks to Azure DevOps, so they are bringing all this data without any manual intervention. So that, as I said, there is no intention from anyone to defeat or to demotivate a group or a team. So these three characteristics are mainly characteristics of meaningful matrices. There are meaningless matrices which has got nothing, but meaningful matrices, applicable and appropriate matrices, as I said, they are actionable, accessible, and auditable. So hence, after this detailed discussion, we can say that there is no mentioned list of matrices for internal stakeholders. I think that is the second question, first part of the second question. Hence, the team can always have a dispensation from it along with the Scrum Master. As such, it's the uh, teams and Scrum Master's prerogative to sit and discuss with the stakeholders and reach a consensus what is needed, not exactly what they need, what the team needs. How can team think of making the product, the process, and the people better and safer, as I said earlier. So I have seen, as Sunan mentioned about digital transformation. So in digital transformation, uh, failure due to adopting agile is a very important topic. So we consider agile budgeting, agile reviewing, agile business agility, enterprise agility. You talk about in digital transformation, which is little beyond Scrum. I think we'll have opportunity to discuss that, Sunan, also. So where we normally know that failing to reach consensus and buy-in on matrices with the stakeholders is the major reason why so many agile programs fail. Okay, so what happens? We do not, the Scrum Masters don't go and talk. Okay, they should have that courage. Courage is one of the values. So they should have a courage to knock down. And if the stakeholder asks, okay, I need this matrices, ask them why. Why? Why you need this? Okay. If he's definitely, if his ego is hurt, or there's no offense in asking him why, why. So then definitely that culture is not good for you. So you go and ask. You have to be polite enough. Of course, you should not say, okay, why what? No, you have to be very much polite enough that, sir, you give me the rationale and why you need this matrices. Okay, so that I can learn from it. Okay, okay. Or if there is something, so that these information radiators will say give, or we will make some decisions, or you will make some decisions. Let me know. Okay, for the learning sake, I'll know. Okay, if you are not saying this, and there is nothing hidden in it. There is no, very, very confidential things. There is nothing in it. Agile matrices are not intended to give confidential data or create a confidential file. No, people are also there who preach that you give me this. There are some things which will be helpful for us, which will keep confidential. Please mind it. There is nothing such thing. There is nothing, no confidential things. Okay. So now let's zero down to customers. That is the first question. Customers are important. We are here for customers. We are here for end users. So there is a larger theory. There is a huge book, rather, I would say, matrices for customers. It's very difficult to say consolidate or say edit and bring out everything in just a single answer. What matrices will you use for customers? Okay, I'll start from a framework called evidence-based management. Uh, I can take another session on evidence-based management, but please remember that EBM is developed and sustained by Ken Schwaber, who is one of the pioneers of Scrum, who insists that Scrum teams to concentrate on improvement of customer value-driven outcomes. Scrum always talks about customer and customer only, customer value only. Okay, so evidence-based management is again a framework which adheres uh, towards uh, or reflects your attention towards improving your customer value. Okay, in all the outcomes you are giving, it has to be exactly calibrated with customer value and minimization of risks. Okay, so just remember, but of course, don't utter this word EVM if you don't know about this in an interview. Okay, so it'll be really embarrassing. Do a thorough research. What is EVM? It's not rocket science. As I said, that EVM framework has been say developed and sustained by Ken Schwaber. So the EVM framework asks the Scrum teams to look at 4 key value areas, 4 KVAs, for which they can create some proper measures to have correct investments, smoother decision making, and risk reduction for the purpose of an improved iterative development of that working software. As I said, so 4 KVAs. 4 KVAs are current value, unrealized value, ability to innovate, and the fourth one is time to market. I'll again say current value, unrealized value, ability to innovate, time to market. What is current value? It asks the Scrum teams to measure the value which they have delivered to the customer or end user as of today. What is unrealized value? It asks the Scrum team to measure the value that could be realized by meeting all the potential needs of their customer. I hope you understand between current and the potential needs. A potential need, which is maybe a future need or a need which has not been considered, a need which is there, which have not been discovered, a need which customer is not aware of. So we have to consolidate that and do our maths to get down to unrealized value. And I said that could be realized by meeting all the potential needs of the customer. Ability to innovate, it asks the teams to measure their ability to deliver a new capability. CRs, change requests. How good enough they are to withstand huge number of CRs or maximum CRs. So which might better serve the customer needs. Okay. Or again, you are changing a potential need to a CR, adding into your scope, and you are equipped enough to better serve the customer by giving that value or be giving that particular feature. So that gets into that ability to innovate. What is your foresightedness, how much alert you are, how much aware you are. So it all goes into the ability to innovate. Fourth is time to market. That is, it asks the Scrum team to measure their ability to quickly deliver new capability. So agility has got 3 levers. That is, you are doing the right thing you are doing the thing right, and you are doing the speed at which you are doing. I'll again say, you are doing the right thing. You are doing the thing right in the right manner. That is the what part. Second is the how part, and third is the speed part. That how quickly you are doing it, how fast you are doing it. So time to market, it asks the Scrum teams to measure their ability to quickly deliver new capabilities, service, or product to their customer or end users. So considering these 4 KVAs, the following sample measurements that can be explored and evaluated by Scrum teams as matrices. I request Sunan to show the chart. So here in this chart, what I have done, the first column is one of the KVAs, second is one of the KVAs, third is also one of the KVAs, fourth is one of the KVAs. The middle one, the key performance indicator matrices, this talks about your performance. Okay, and as we all know that the how part. Okay, so here in every column the matrices are described and given, but the definition of matrices I have not given, or I'm not bringing it here because of towards the interest of time. We can always have another session, or whoever wants to know about any of these matrices, please write down to me, or please write down in the comment section if they want to know what is defect density, what is NPS, what is customer usage index, how can CFDs will be derived. Now CFD is a Kanban matrix, how we can take it down, what is CFD, what is lead time, what is flow efficiency, because there are lot many. Even I'm sure that whatever I have just consolidated in this chart are not all. There are many, almost hundreds. So in my career, I have worked down on these matrices. That's why I've jotted down this. But there are many. But they can be segregated in these 4 KV areas, which can be say showcased to the customers if they want. But again, along with the customer also, that theory is applicable, that discuss, sit down with the customer, ask them what is applicable and what is appropriate. Just, if the customer doesn't want, say, to know or see your release burndown, just don't populate his mail. Okay, you keep it for your own thing, for your own predictability. The 8 aspects, the 7 aspects which I said, starting for that you keep it. So I think we can stop here, because uh, one more
Okay.
session will be required, or to describe for each and
All this
every
is okay.
matrices,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But again, I think we can keep that comment section open. If anybody asks, I can give them the right definition or the purpose of any of the
Absolutely.
matrices they
Absolutely.
ask.
Maybe we will cover second session specifically to describing, maybe
The
just take a
definitions, yeah,
liner on all this, like how we have used, and maybe
right,
just
right.
to see. Okay. Okay. So I think, yeah, with this, I hope people out there, you have understand and how to tackle your leadership or how to work with your customer. So the idea of this particular session is just to give you an in-depth how to work toward matrices, your thought process, how you can change the way you are looking towards the matrices right now, right? That's the bottom line for this session, not to just give you any ready-made answer, just like that. So I really thoroughly enjoy this session. Nilab, lot of things is, I mean, for me also, a lot of things are new in this session. So I learn a lot from this, and I hope people will, who is going to watch this session, definitely going to learn a lot of new things. So Nilab, thanks one more time, and yeah, we'll like to see you more and more on our channel in future as well. So please take out some time. I'm just telling behalf of everyone, Nilab, and yeah,
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
close,
Before
anything
we
from your
close,
side? Yeah.
I just want to second your thought, that you rightly said that the basic thought process behind the matrices have to be very clear. Okay, so unless and until you have your own ideas clear, just don't chase matrices. Okay. I've been asked in many of my interview questions that what matrices you use. Okay. Uh, I name very few, four or five. Okay. So then they just ask me, don't you use this? Don't you use that? I rather cross question them. Why should I use that? Okay. Is there any requirement? Okay. In my project, there is no requirement. These 4 or 5 matrices, which is really applicable. We have used this and we have found that our teams are, assessing their performance by that. So, so I'm just say trying to tell to my fellow Scrum Master friends that don't get carried away if somebody is asking why are you not using this matrix. Okay, necessarily not. If they are using, you have to use it. Okay. Second, uh, don't get bogged up that if somebody is almost throwing questions on matrices. If your thought process are clear, even if you are using only sprint burn down and velocity, just say it that we are using only sprint down and velocity. Okay, I know all this. See, it's better to have a knowledge about matrices, the definitions. As I said, the definitions are not given here. We'll have another session to know about the definitions and the purposes of the matrices. But get it, information is plenty available. You can get it from Google, you can get it from any other forum, books. So know it, but don't say it if you have not used it. Okay, you will be caught. Okay, so that's my advice to my fellow Scrum Masters friends.
Okay, I think it's a wonderful session, Ella. So yeah,
Thank you.
looking forward for more session with you and with this thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil.
Yeah.